On this episode of DPV, we're putting a new chain in this Quadratrac. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. I'm Josh, and today we're working on the Big Chief. It's my 1979 Jeep Cherokee. Got 3/4 ton axles, 37s. That needs some replacing. But today we're working on the Quadratrac. So I don't know if you saw in the last episode. This is not so good, but we've got the solution right here. BJ's Off-Road now makes chains for these, and they are made in the USA. So for a while you couldn't get chains for the Borg Warner, not a good one anyway. There was a couple companies that made them, but from what I had read, they would stretch like pretty much immediately. The best chains were the Morse chains, which is actually what's in this thing. I don't know if you can see that. It says Morse on there. But who knows how old it is, you know. I do have a bunch of cleaning to do on this, but I did want to show you how these gears come out before I get too carried away. And then I'm going to start cleaning up these case halves so everything's nice and clean again. I also got myself a new flex plate, so you can get those at BJ's also, because you can see my old one got some flat spots, which is super inconvenient. It's impressive how many times the engine will stop right at that moment where the starter needs to engage right there. You gotta crawl under the Jeep with a screwdriver and pry on that thing a little bit so you can start it up. That's annoying. So we got a new flex plate. I'm gonna get that on probably off camera just so I don't forget. And then if we got time, we're gonna take this guy to the car wash him off real good, and seal it up. So had some transmission lines made. Got our fittings here for the radiator, and then yeah, we'll get, you know, torque converter seal, pan gasket, all the O-rings, whatnot, all put in there. So let me show you how these gears come out so you can get the chain out, and then I'm gonna get to cleaning. So these things actually come out super easy. There's nothing holding them in after you get this case half off. They just slide out. Work them a little bit at a time, I guess. There we go. There we go. Now, this transfer case does have the mile marker part-time kit in it. I did a video quite a while back on like the first time I had this thing apart. I blew up the transfer case that was originally in this Jeep and found this T-case on Craigslist for like $100, and it just happened to have the mile marker part-time kit in it. But if you want to see how all that works, I'll link that video right up here so you can go and check that out. But I explain how all this works. So it might look a little different than yours if you don't have the mile marker kit. But yeah, those gears just slide out. You just got to work them as evenly as you can. I'm going to get to cleaning all these parts. Once it's cleaned, I'll join back up with you and we'll start putting this thing back together. All right, I've been at it for several hours, just cleaning. Got it all tore apart, cleaned up pretty good. One thing I did want to note, you do not need to pull this snap ring. And I would say don't pull it unless you need to get in here and do some work, because it doesn't actually hold this on. It's just the snap ring that holds the planetary gear on that you have to pull. Because if you pull this, there are a bunch of components in there that can just fall out. So ask me how I know. Anyway, it takes a bit of work to get it all lined back up and put it back together. But anyway, yeah, you do not need to pull that snap ring. Do need to change this seal real quick. So we'll pop that out, press that guy in there, and then we'll get to putting that chain in. Finally. Oh, that's right, it's a double seal. That's why there's two of them. So there's a double seal on this input shaft. You want to drive it in. If you can see that little hole right there. There we go. You want to kind of see that hole. It's pretty much to the edge on the inside. And this seal goes the opposite direction like that. So I'll drive that in real quick. This seal driver from Harbor Freight, basically you want this smaller diameter to kind of fit inside the seal, and then this one you want to be about the size of the outside diameter of the seal. You can see like that, and you should back it up with a washer. It comes with a washer, but I lost it. Tried running without it and busted it in half. So man, this thing's triple wrapped. All right, so I've got 8 of these links, 8 of these little trapezoids between the top and the bottom. So it should be even. Probably, since this is nice and fresh, tight, might be a little bit of a struggle lining all this stuff up in there. Nice. You can get this one quite a ways started before you got to get this one engaged. This one has the splines of the that front output shaft. So, but yeah, look at that. That's way better. Nice and tight. Oh, I'm excited. Should have some good full drive action now. All right, I kind of dealt with this last time that I had this thing apart. I'm pretty sure it's just Crown Automotive that makes sill kits for these. You can see this lower one, this thin one, is the Crown Automotive one. and it's too long. See, it's too long. So what I did last time, I ended up just reusing the old one and doing some RTV. That's about all you can do. Kind of a bummer, but what do you do? Anyway, throw this guy back in there. And this one's actually like, it's thicker too. So it fills up that whole trough really well. If any of you know of a company that makes good seal for this Borg Warner, let me know in the comments. You do need to make sure that this tube makes it into this hole. That grabs oil from there and shoots it toward that bearing back there. So you want to make sure that that happens. Also, there's this little spacer here that keeps that from riding on the housing, and this little spacer here that does the same. Okay, so this piece, that little tube there, inserts into or around that other tube. Yeah, so that tube just inserts right there. Then this thing lines up right there. You gotta line up this here and this within here. It's kind of a pain, but maybe I'll get it in the first shot. Nice. There we go. Right on, it's pretty much back together. So just a couple little odds and ends here to button up. I'll have to finish that in the morning, and then we'll tackle putting some new seals on that. Get this Jeep back on the trail. I think that's gonna be great with that new chain. It looked nice and tight in there. So, all right, I'll see you in the morning. All right, back at it. There is a seal right here that you need to replace when you, so it looks like that. It goes, after you slide the yoke on, then you slide that little seal on there. I already got one on there. And then there's the washer and the nut. Here's what the old seal looked like. See, it's all kind of dried and chewed up a little bit. So you want to make sure that you get that replaced. Got this cover on, and then I'll show you how the shift fork all goes together. All right, so that cylinder looking thing down in there. Slides back and forth. Engage the four-wheel drive. And this is the shift fork that makes it happen. And you can see this side protrudes a little bit further than this side. The longer side goes here, and like also has these little plastic pieces. You know, I want to make sure those are on there. All right, so you can see how that long side fits nicely into this indent, and then the shift fork, it's pretty dark in there, but you can see it's all the way up against the surface. Then you know you're in the right orientation. When that slides forward, same thing on the other side. So then this guy slides in there, and there's a little C-clip that goes on each side of that shift fork. First, we got to get the spring and detent in there. Pops into those grooves. That's what kind of locks it in full drive. All right, got the little clips in there. So now you can see that's it. There's also a little switch that goes right here, and that will tell you if it's engaged or not. All right, transmission and transfer case are in. Looking good. So, I'm not gonna put the skid plate on because I think I need to take this opportunity to beef that thing up. I got a ton of wrenching to do. So what I think I'm gonna do is try to hammer out all the wrenching real quick. I've only got about an hour and a half left that I can work on it today, so we'll see how far I get. I got drive lines, bell housing bolts, linkage, transmission lines, so a number of things that need to be done, and I'm going to try to pound those out, so hopefully we can get this thing moving under its own power before the end of the video. All right, it's all back together. Got the fluid topped off. Time to go play around. Well, found some mud. I'm filthy. That was an absolute blast. Transfer case is working awesome. Transmission seems to be good, doing good. So it's time to save for some tires for sure. But man, I am excited about the property. Holy cow, with all this moisture. Holy cow. We're gonna have some fun back there. Anyway, that's it for this episode. If you want to support the channel, we got merch on Teespring. You can email us about these hats. Shop on Amazon via any of the links in the description below. Become a Patreon. And then just like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Wheel it, wreck it, wrench it, repeat. We'll see you next time.